Okay, this little posting is about the death of tube amplifiers in the mainstream. And I have noticed during the past 20 years, since I have been a serious audiophile, that how we see tube amps changed over these 20 years drastically. 20 years ago, there was absolutely zero contest between tube amps and solid states. There was a world of a gap between the quality difference between the two, and tube amplifiers had every superiority over solid state amplifiers, and they were in a massively different league in reproducing music. I would say that even today nothing has changed. However, what has changed is the appreciation of the public, is that due to the what wow all sorts of like online presence and marketing and reviews. Today we think of tube amplifiers something like an afterthought that a serious audiophile would not really consider, because it's kind of like, geeky or outdated or who knows what. But here with this amplifier, I would like to show you that the why tube amplifiers have become something of an anachronism today, and why people are not taking them seriously. Because when you look at this amplifier, which uses a huge number of power tubes to achieve 900 watts per channel output. And this is what I'm talking about, that this has been the death of the tube amplifiers, because in the past 20 years, they tried to adapt tube technology to make them, or to force them to be working with low efficiency speakers. Tube amplifiers were never ever meant to power low efficiency speakers, and if you are doing so, you are just royally wasting your time. And just to build such a monstrosity, to be able to drive low efficiency speakers, a massive power factory, is just I would say like taking out the soul of the tubes. And the soul of the tubes is something like this. It's utter simplicity. It's the direct signal path. When you are connected to music with the least number of elements, each of them have extreme linearity, and there's very little processing to the signal. So the signal that's recorded on your recording comes through a limited number of devices. Here, one device, two devices, and a transformer, and that's it. And that's what you are hearing. And if you want to make it work with a low efficiency speaker, then you need this massive number of tubes and all kinds of feedback circuitry and extra amplification stages, and it just becomes a nightmare, and you are losing the purity, the coherence, and its sound will be like a replica of a solid state amplifier sound. And the only real difference between this and the solid state amplifier is that this is producing a little more heat. So if you live in a Scandinavian country, for example, it will be a tremendous blessing for you. But if you are looking for a climate, something like Hawaii or Texas, then you rather want a Class D amplifier to get 900 watts per channel than something like this. So when you have an amplifier like this, on the other hand, you have not 900 watts per channel, but 2 watts per channel, and with a really high sensitivity, high efficiency speaker, you will understand what tube amps are about. And make no mistake, this very simple amplifier, although it looks very fancy and it's not cheap, but it's at a mere fraction. You can buy a dozen of those amps for the price of this single monstrosity. So so I would say that a good tube amplifier is not something that is out of reach, but it's something very realistic. You just have to accept the fact that we need to use them with speakers that are matching them. It's like if you are a dancer, you need to wear dancer shoes. And for solid state amplifiers, they are, let's say, they are like football players, and they have to wear football shoes. And if you want to force those football shoes, which are the low efficiency speakers, onto the dancers, they won't even let you on a dance floor with football shoes. And if you sneak in with football shoes, you would only damage the dance floor and also damage your ankle and probably possibly break it trying to dance in football shoes, or injure your partner. So this is really deadly serious, that if you have a tube amplifier, please do that favor to match them with speakers that they are intended to be used with, and then you will be, first of all, hugely surprised, because all of that misconceptions that we have with tube amplifiers, that they are colored, they are sluggish, slow, uncontrolled bass, not enough frequency extension, that comes from all the bad rap for trying to mate them with speakers that are that were never supposed to work with tube amplifiers. When you use them with the right speakers, then you will experience something that you never experience with solid state amplifiers, and it's unprocessed music. So you can experience music that is not restrained, it's not forced into boundaries. You don't feel like you are sitting in a dentist chair. So this type of experience, and if you look at like a 5,000 watt solid state amp, it feels like you are kind of like forced into something, into an uncomfortable experience. Don't get me wrong. This sort of sound and that 5,000 watt amplifier sound can be really good, really fantastic. But if you hear a properly set up tube amplifier with matching speakers, it's a different world. Especially if you think about listening to a violin performance, or piano, or human vocal, something that has a lot of harmonic content, then tubes have no seconds. If you want to listen to something, music that does not have harmonic content, for example, like a jazz trio or jazz quartet, where it's all about just percussive element, the instruments that you hear, like a drum or a saxophone, they are really loud, really snappy, but there's no woody quality to it, no harmonic playing. In that case, you will not miss the tube character. You will be fine with a Class D amp or any high power amp with low efficiency speaker. But when you go and you want to listen to a violin, then I really urge everyone to just try and seek out and familiarize yourself with vacuum tubes. Otherwise, if you do that 10 years from now, you will be looking back and thinking, I wasted 10 years of my life. For me, it was an easy choice, no-brainer. I always loved transistors and I thought that transistors are the future. But I was lucky enough that my first 3 vacuum tube experiences were all amazing, stellar, which left me zero doubt that this technology is pro music. It's about connecting you to music, while transistors seem to do things perfectly in a very controlled fashion, but in my case, they did not bring me close to music. They can bring you close to sound and allow you to marvel at how things sound, but try to get close to that Bach violin sonata or Beethoven's quartets. Doesn't do anything. You will be stuck at listening to how something sounds, but you will not get to the soul of the piece. Anyway, these are just musings and just my thoughts on vacuum tubes and transistor technology. And I think this is really important to share, because there are extremely few voices that talk about sincerity and authenticity about vacuum tubes, especially low power vacuum tubes, because today's everyone is really focused on convenience, comfort, and extremely priced technologies, which are just super duper expensive and have something ostentatious about them. And although this is a Yamamoto amplifier, it is not the cheapest amp, but compared to today's world where a $50,000 amplifier is considered like a meh, not even an expensive amplifier, this amplifier is just a fraction of that cost. And if you want to build one for yourself that gives you a similar experience, then you can do it even cheaper. Of course, it will not be exactly the same sounding as this amplifier, but it will give you the same connection to music. And it's really easy to build one with quite little knowledge. And as I said before, my friends, high school kids, built a tube amplifier in less than a month, and that month contained all that time when they prepared for it and learned the basics on how to build one. So if a high school kid can build a tube amp in 1 month, then you can do it as well. And I did it too. So that was 20 years ago, and then look at me. I built more since then. So thank you for checking in. I hope this gives you a little inspiration. This video was not to this solid state amps. I think there are fantastic solid state amplifiers out there, And there are really magical low efficiency speakers, solid state amp combinations, but they are rare as hen's golden eggs. And I have heard extremely few of those. However, with tube systems, I have heard innumerable tube systems which play amazing music. And just about almost all of my audio buddies have tube systems, and there is not a shadow of doubt in all of our minds, all of who have been audiophiles for 20 years or more, that vacuum tubes are the way if you want to listen to music. If you want to play around just listening to sound, you will be fine with transistors. But after a while, when you get tired of that, just chasing perfection and absolute sound, then you realize that you want to listen to music, and that's when you will settle on tubes. So please share your thoughts and experiences in the comment section, and thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe and like if you liked it. Bye bye.